everyone, and welcome back to another video. So today's video I'm going to be reading book recommendations that Donna from Mum's Book Collection recommended me. There's a few that Donna has recommended me that I just haven't yet, and I really wanted to read the recommendations. So me and Donna came up with this, new idea, and I thought it was a great idea, so that's what I'm going to be doing. But at this time of filming the intro, I've already read the books. That as I was reading the books, I forgot to actually update because it was also like when I finished all the books it was late, so I never updated. What I'm going to do now is I did write reviews, lucky enough, for at least 2 of them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here, I'm going to edit it so you see the montages that I actually did film, like the b-roll, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts. And I know that is not what you wanted to see or the way you wanted to see, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm sorry it didn't work out the way I wanted to, but I still hope you enjoy. And the first book I read was Sadie by Courtney Summers. So let's get into the b-roll for that. Okay, so Sadie I rated 4 stars. I actually really enjoyed this, and it shocked me in the sense of I didn't hear anything about this book. I went into it blind and I enjoyed it a lot more than what I thought, and I do feel like with this book it is better going into it blind. I just feel like you get a better experience with it. So I did write a review and I wrote that there's loads of trigger warnings, and what trigger warnings there is I won't say them here because obviously they're trigger warnings, but if you are interested in looking into reading this book, then I recommend you do some research about it, as there are some triggering content. But I wrote, wow, this book was so good and definitely surprised me. I'm not usually a fan of YA books, but this one just hit differently. I picked this up because I am filming a video for my YouTube channel, and it was recommended to me by a friend for that video. I highly recommend the audiobook. This one is one of the best audiobooks I have listened to. Half of this book is told through a podcast and half is told from the perspective of Sadie. The audiobook has a full cast of narrators and it's just done so well. Full cast narration makes you feel so immersive in the story. I'd highly recommend this book, but only if you can read it, as it has quite a few trigger warnings. I went into this book blind, not reading the synopsis, which is not like me, so I was surprised about what the book was about. I feel like going in not knowing anything made my experience with this book better. I would also say if you are going to read Sadie, I would highly recommend the audiobook, because like I said in my review, the audiobook has different people for the narration and it just made it so much more interesting. Kind of like if you listen to the audiobook for Daisy Jones and the Six, kind of like that, and it's done in that way, and it just made it so much more interesting to listen to and easier to listen to because you kind of got used to the voices and everything. And obviously because there's a podcast side of it and then the actual story side of it, it also split those up as well, and it made it so much more immersive, easier to read or listen to. So I would highly recommend the audiobook to this. And I believe the audiobook's only like 7 hours or so, or like 7.5 hours, so definitely a quick read and a quick listen depending on what format you choose to read or listen to this book. But I really enjoyed it, and like I said, surprised me because this isn't usually a book I would pick up. Like I believe I had it on my want to read list from a few years ago, but it wasn't one that was like on my radar anytime soon. Then when Donna recommended it to me and I saw it, I was like, well, then I've got to read it. It's been recommended to me, and so that is why I decided to pick up this book. I read The Summer Girl by Elle Kennedy, and this book I rated 4 stars. I was surprised by this book because this is the 3rd book in the Everland Bay series, and the first 2 books personally wasn't for me. Like I didn't really like them. Like, I didn't love them, I didn't hate them, kind of thing. Good Go Complex reminded me too much of After, and then the second book I don't really remember too much about, if I'm being completely honest. But this book I actually really enjoyed, and if you are looking for a summary book, I would recommend this. If you're looking for a book with a bit of drama in it, also this is the book for you. So if you're looking for mountain drama, then I recommend you pick up this book. But I would definitely say I did really enjoy this one, and I really enjoyed listening to the audiobook as well. So this is, I'm going to read the synopsis for this one. It says, college student Cassie Soul hasn't spent an entire summer in Avalon Bay in years since her parents' divorce and her mother spitefully whisked her away to Boston. Now that her grandmother is selling the Boardwalk Hotel that's been in their family for 5 decades, Cassie returns to the quaint beach town to spend time with family, bring in her 21st birthday, and maybe find herself a summer fling. On her first night in town, she finds the perfect candidate, Tate, Avalon Bay's fun-loving golden boy. Tate, sailing instructor and lovable player, is no stranger to flings. In fact, he's always down for a good time, but that moment he meets Cassie, he knows she's not the girl you play games with. Cassie is gorgeous, hilarious, and frankly the coolest person he's ever met. The last thing he wants to do is risk breaking her heart, and so he reluctantly puts her in the friend zone, only to realize he made a huge mistake. Soon his attraction to Cassie becomes impossible to ignore. He wants that fling now, big time, and maybe even something more. As Cassie and Tate walk the line between friends and lovers, they're about to discover that their situation is the least complicated part of the equation, because Avalon Bay is full of secrets, and the relationship might not survive when those secrets come to light. So this I really enjoyed. I did feel there was some parts of the book that dragged on a bit, but I also at first I found it really hard to find like a connection between the characters, but like the further we get into the book, the more I felt that developed, so that was like an issue for me in the end. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about this book. It is like your classic summer drama rom-com, classic rom-com, but I would recommend it. It is fun, and I could just like imagine us sitting at the beach reading this book. It gives us those vibes. Finally, the moment we have all been waiting for, God Killer. I know. I've been promising Donna that I would read this since March when she recommended it me, and I can't believe it took me that long. And each time I'd be like, oh, I might try and read it next month, but I just kept putting it off. I've read it, and I feel like I've hyped this book up so much, in the sense of I keep saying I was going to read it, I want to read it, all that stuff. So originally, I was seeing reviews and stuff about this, and I was going to actually like look into it more at the time, because I was seeing a lot of other people read it, but then Donna recommended it to me in March. Then that's when I looked into it more, and for that I was like, I do fancy trying something new, so why not? And I was seeing like loads of people give this 5 stars, so I did look into it. I was like, this is completely different from what I would ever normally read. I mean, to give it a go kind of thing. And that's when Donna recommended it me, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to give it a go now. But this was a 2-star read for me, which, to be honest, I was kind of expecting, in the sense of this isn't my usual read, and I am very disappointed. I didn't like it as much as I thought. Like, it was okay. It was okay. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all, but I just don't feel like I'm not going to read the second book. I'm not interested in reading the second book, but I'm glad I read this one. I'm glad I gave it a go. Sometimes it is good to get out your comfort zone, even if you think you're not going to like it. Give it a go, you might surprise yourself. And that is what I wanted to do, because I wanted to give this a go. I'm going to read the back and then I'll read my review. So it says, you are not welcome here, God Killer. As a child, Kissin saw her family murdered by a god. Now gods are forbidden, but they still wander their kingdom, demanding worship and sacrifice. Kissin makes a living killing them and enjoying it, till she meets a god she cannot kill. Skidi, I think that's how you say it. I could be wrong. The god of white lies has bonded his soul to the young noble girl, and Kissin can't kill him without ending the girl's life. Sim reluctantly agrees to travel to the ruined city of Blenraden to demand aid from the last world gods. The city of the gods is no place for a god killer. So that is what drew me in, was the synopsis, because it does sound really interesting. Like I said, I don't hate this book. I just want to preface that I just found it average. Okay, now this is my review that I wrote for Goodreads. Prologue in this book was so good and gripping, but then most of the story I felt myself getting bored, and then the last 50-ish pages got interesting and good again. World building was very confusing, but I don't know if that was just me. There were too many side characters to keep up with, and they didn't have anything to add to the story. Kind of felt like they were just there, and I felt there wasn't depth to any of the characters. The enemies to lovers trope is done really well in this book, with the characters being suspicious and not trusting each other, to them slowly beginning to trust and open up to one another. This is not the typical type of book I go for, but I wanted to try something new and different, and a friend recommended it to me. I really wanted to love this book, but many people love this book, so I would recommend it if this is your typical genre. So I was fair. I would recommend this if this is your type of genre. It just wasn't mine. So this is fantasy, fiction, adult, mythology, LGBT, queer, high fantasy, young adult, gods. So I feel like this more wasn't my thing, because I don't really like mythology books. It have just never been my thing personally, and also young adult. So I feel like them two just together wasn't it for me. But like, I want to preface it again, because I've hyped this book up too much and now I feel bad for hyping it up so much. But 2 stars for me is it okay. I don't really have any feelings towards it, kind of thing. So that's that book. I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I gave it a go. So that is the end of today's video. Again, sorry it wasn't like the type of form of reading vlog that I normally do. It's just, I've already explained it. But yeah, and either way, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Make sure to check out Donna's channel. The link will be in the description. Make sure to go subscribe, say hello, check out Donna's videos. They are amazing. And please remember to like and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more bookish content from me. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.